the story of the day, the biggest upset in the history of the NCAA tournament. Fairleigh Dickinson taking down Purdue in the second ever 16-1 upset. T.O., let's start with you, man. How did this happen?
It's pretty the smallest team in the NCAA, right? Take down. It's literally the David versus Goliath situation going on here. And here's what really happened is Purdue hasn't seen a trapping team. They haven't seen a pressing team. They haven't seen a team that'll mix things up and make it difficult for you, and where your young guards have to figure things out. At least for the last 3 months, guys. If you look back to their non-conference, were there really even that many teams then that were really going to mix it up all that much? That's what happened to Purdue. They got confused. Their young guards got confused against a team that was flying all over the place, trying to create havoc above anything else. And then that's what ended up happening. Fairleigh Dickinson, amazing coaching job by our man Tobin. Our man Tobin. Didn't this team win like 4 games last year?
They won 4 games last year.
4 games last
Anderson
year.
Comes
and now they're
Division
playing for the
2.
Sweet 16. They're playing for the Sweet 16.
He comes from Division 2. He brings 3 Division 2 transfers up with him from the team that he played with last year. His starting backcourt is 5'8" and 5'9". They are they win the automatic bid from the Northeast Conference. And they don't even win the Northeast Conference tournament because Merrimack, who won the Northeast Conference tournament, is not eligible for the NCAA tournament. And then they become not only the team to land the biggest upset, John Martin, the biggest upset in NCAA tournament history, but the first 16 seed to win 2 games in the NCAA tournament. It's an unbelievable story. I'm so happy for Tobin. I've known Tobin since I was 18 years old. I played against Tobin when I was a freshman, a sophomore, a junior, and a senior in college. It's awesome to see him having this success. And I'll tell you this, guys, what stands out so much to me is we all saw the viral clip, right? We all saw what Tobin said in the locker room.
He wanted smoke. He got smoke.
Yeah, I want Purdue
he brought
to see
the
this.
smoke, bro. He brought it.
Yeah, he wanted like he said, I want Purdue to see this. Every time I watch them play, I think that we can win. And then they went out and they won. I think that shows you the mindset, the way that team and that program views themselves and views what they want to accomplish, right? There was nothing for them to lose.
Yeah.
They went out there and they played like they had nothing to lose. They played free, they played tough, they played hard, and they played their game. They made it ugly. They got Purdue uncomfortable. And those Purdue guards, like Braden Smith, is going to be a terrific basketball player. He's got a long career in front of him. He's going to play for a long time, whether it's in the NBA, in the Big Ten, overseas, wherever. Same thing with Fletcher Lawyer. Great kids. But they just weren't ready for the fight like Fairleigh Dickinson was ready for the fight. And honestly, I think it's just as simple as that. When it came down to it, they got nervous because they were the 1 seed with everything to lose. And Fairleigh Dickinson didn't, because all they had to do was go out there and run around. If they got 30 piece, everyone would be like, yeah, they're the 16 seed, whatever.
Yeah, Field of 68 also presented by Underdog Fantasy Deposit. At Underdog, get a 100% match up to $100. Quick note on that. We're going to talk to Tobin Anderson. You got an exclusive interview with him right after the game went final that we're going to get to here in just a minute. But I don't know where you guys are on this, but I thought one of the key observations was I saw a team in Kennesaw State earlier in the day have a double-digit lead on a top 3 seed in Xavier, and I couldn't help but sort of juxtapose and put together, the differences in approach. I saw in Fairleigh Dickinson a team that was not afraid, and maybe it wasn't going to work for them in terms of going at Zach Edey every single time, but they weren't afraid to do it. They were like, we're going to take it, and you might block our shit, and you might send it into the 5th row, but we're going to bring it to you every time. Whereas with a team like Kennesaw State, they got that lead. They decided they were going to babysit it. They were going to try to take that possession down to 3-5 seconds on the shot clock. Whereas FDU, they pushed it every single time. They never changed the way they played. And they said, you know what, if we lose, we're going to do it trying to win. And I do think when you get into these tournament matchups, that can be the difference psychologically.
Yeah. Absolutely. And Kennesaw State took their foot off the gas. Fairleigh Dickinson, they weren't quite in that position to where they could do that, because I feel like they felt the only way they could score is if they got Edey away just a little bit. And even if they did get blocked, I mean, 5'8" and 5'9", they're used to getting blocked. I would assume it's not going to bother them. But what was really impressive, guys, was, Edey was Edey. What do you have, 21 on 11 shots and 15 or 14 boards? I don't have the stats right in front of me, but he was still Edey. It was just a matter of everybody else really pressuring those guards, figuring out different things. There was one possession it was in the last 5 minutes. Fairleigh Dickinson went out and trapped the top past half court on a sideline inbounds. That Braden Smith's never dealt with that. Fletcher Lawyer's never dealt with that. This was stuff they'd never seen. So whenever you're in that position in the Big Ten, we go back to the Big Ten, nobody plays like that. They play against one small team all year, and that's Penn State. And they're not as fast as what they saw today. That was the issue.
Mm-hmm. Penn State doesn't play anything like this, John. They don't play anything like this. It's a completely different team. They were not ready for it. And this was something that we tried to make this point, right? Anybody that just watched that Memphis Florida Atlantic game and saw the way those two teams play, as hard as those two teams, that was a fantastic game, John. Sorry, I feel for you, man. Trust me.
I was about to check on
like
your mental,
15
John.
minutes, bro. All right.
How's your mental, John?
Like I'm literally coming off. You guys will give me like the players get cooling off periods, not me. I gotta come in here and I gotta do this damn show with you guys.
All right, you know what? Today's episode is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy, the easiest place to play college basketball pick'em, where you can get a little extra sweat during March Madness and win real cash prizes simply by picking player stats in this weekend's games. In Pick'em, all you do is predict whether a player will go higher or lower on Underdog's projected totals, whether that's points, rebounds, whatever. For example, if you're like me and you think Zach Edey is going to go nuts in this tournament, pick higher on his points projection, add up to 4 more picks, and if you hit them all, you can win 20 times your money on a single game. Underdog's slick mobile app is easy enough that dummies like Jeff Goodman have even figured it out. So go to underdogfantasy.com or download the app and use the code FIELD, FIELD, and Underdog will match your deposit up to $100. Now is the time to get in on the madness. So remember, underdogfantasy.com, promo code FIELD.